Olin, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, guys. I'm doing good. Another win. Go to bye week. Enjoy the win. The gutsy performance by the Chicago Bears. Not a lot right in that game except winning it. And learning how to win is a thing in the NFL, as we've talked about a lot with this football team. So to watch them play the way they did, and then at the end of the game, find a way to win the game and find a way to block a field goal. Still trying to watch this film and figure out exactly how they did it, but they did it.
Right. Is the key to making the most and maximizing this victory, which revealed your resilience and all the things that you want to call under the category of a character win? Olin, is the key to making this important, not making it too important, if you know what I mean? You don't want to act like you've arrived, and yet you want to find something as a frame of reference, because if you're a first-year head coach, that's exactly the response you're looking for in the fourth quarter.
Exactly, David. Well put by you, because obviously winning in NFL is really hard, and then winning on the road. Although we could argue whether that was a road game or not, but you still got to travel out west. It's a long flight. Coach Johnson takes his team out there to Las Vegas. It's really important for this football team, with all the losing that they have done here, to win, to stack wins, to gain confidence in what they're doing and what their coaches are saying. You take coaching just a little better, right? After a win, and you don't feel like, man, he's blaming me for a loss. We won. Now let's go back and correct what's on film. Let's go over our penalties again, that we had too many of them. I mean, the Chicago Bears guys have 3 takeaways in the first half to one. Max Crosby's batted interception that he caught. And they're still losing the game, right, all the way to the fourth quarter. They're 4-1 in the takeaways and still losing the game all the way to the end of the game. Still found a way to win the game. Found a way, watch Caleb stand in that pocket under all that pressure, man. And they're blitzing him on that play, and he hits Rome Odunze on a third down for a touchdown. The third time, I think, in the last 3 games that those guys have connected on a 3rd or 8 or more for a touchdown, that's another stat that's unbelievable to me when I watch the Chicago Bears play. But gutsy performance, we talked about last night on the post-game show, finding a way just to win a football game when it seems like nothing is going right. You got musical chairs out there at your tackle position against a game wrecker. You're doing everything you can to slow this guy down, hanging in the game, showing your toughness, showing what the coach talked about. Coach looks like he wants to fight reporters. Everything's going on in that game, and they find a way to win.
It is, it's kind of extraordinary when you think about it, that this, I'm not sure how many administrations of the Bears we've seen over the years would have won that game. There were so many missed opportunities, and usually when those kind of load up on you, certainly in last year for certain, but in other years where that would have been overpowering to them. Is it the coach that is helping to overcome that sort of thing? Is it the quarterback? He's got this knack of kind of being able to produce a big moment. I just wonder what you attribute it to as you look back on it, Olin.
Yeah, when you watch the film, Caleb, it's interesting to watch it, right, the last couple of weeks, because nothing's been amazing except for his arm talent, which obviously is, when he throws some of these footballs that he gets away with throwing them, because just how great his arm is. But it's like when you're watching this film, guys, he has like a steady presence on the team, right, where he's just making the play, getting out of trouble when he has to, throwing the ball away when he has to. Now, he did have that fumble that he recovered by himself on that zone read that Max Crosby caused, but he did recover it. And stay hanging in the pocket, not trying to do too much, not throwing crazy interceptions like Geno was doing, just doing the things that he needs to do in the system. And we talked about yesterday, Pat Manley was saying turnovers in bunches, and Caleb's got to be great. And I thought, well, when I watched the game at first, he wasn't great, but that actually was great what he was doing, right? Hanging in the system, playing in the pocket, keeping his teammates calm. And when the time comes, I'll make the plays, and we'll make the plays to win this game with what a lot of people consider one of the top play callers in the NFL and one of the top talents at quarterback in the NFL, Mully. And I think that's what you're seeing there on film. And then give Dennis Allen a little credit with that simulated blitzes that he's been running the last 2 weeks that have confused veteran quarterbacks on third down, right? 7 guys up, drop it to cover 3. He's got a wily veteran there in Byard who has them in deep middle, but is taking a chance on sitting on those throws in the middle of the field because he understands what Geno likes to do, and he gets 2 interceptions. So those things combined, good coaching, good quarterback, and just timely plays won that game. And I heard you guys shout out Coach Hightower, the special teams coach. Been hard on him on a few of my interviews. But look, yesterday, even with Torrey Taylor's punt, right? All those points mattered at the end of the game when you win by 1. Torrey Taylor kicks it 62 yards, and it stops there on the 1-yard line. And we've been waiting for that since Ryan Post took a punter in the 4th round. So a lot of things, and then a block punt, a lot of things at the end of the game. You got to look at the plays they made to win the football game and give them credit for that.
This segment with Olin Kreutz is sponsored by BC Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. So, Olin, TJ Edwards and Grady Jarrett did not play, which I think we have to keep in mind when evaluating the Bears' run defense. That said, they've got to be better than give up 240 yards on the ground. It was a combination of things from the naked eye. Tremaine Edmonds not taking great angles, guys getting blown off the ball, missed tackles on Genty the first time, and yet there were 2 plays in a row where Andrew Billings moved the pile back. So I don't know what to make of the Bear run defense. I think they have the personnel to stop it, and yet they're not really stopping anyone.
That's a great point by you, and really they haven't stopped anyone since 4th quarter of the Minnesota game, right? So that run defense has been a problem. Run defense and running the ball is why I had the Raiders beating the Bears yesterday. Obviously, as pointed out by Pat Manley, they had to get a ton of takeaways to offset that. To win the game, he channeled his inner Lovie Smith and found a way to win that game, right? So when you watch their defense, like you're saying, David, and I've been saying for a while, I want to see them move Jonathan Ford up and kick Javon Dexter out to 3 technique and put Billings as their starting nose guard. I think they're better there. Shamar Turner really needs to get his pads down. Although the last play of the game, the Raiders ran a tackle trap. Shamar Turner blows up the tackle pulling and then make a stop there. I think it was Byard stopped them in the backfield for a 2-yard loss before they got that field goal block. So their defense, though, to the point of what you're saying, is they're not hanging in their gaps, right? They're not beating blocks. They're not changing the line of scrimmage, obviously, on that quarterback sneak, and then they went for it on 4th and 1, which is another 3 points that Carroll gave them. On that quarterback sneak, the center just basically blows his responsibility. I mean, for me, man, on 4th and 1, I'm probably not going to let Billings go free, right? And then Noah Sewell hits the Genty and it causes the fumble. They have a lot of work to do on that defense, and Coach Allen's trying everything, whether it's blitzing the safety off the end, playing man coverage behind, getting some movement behind there. These D linemen guys, they're just getting beat on blocks one-on-one, and you got guys swimming out of their gaps, not hanging in their gap, not allowing their teammate to make plays. They got to trust each other. They got to trust their teammates. They got to hit their run fits. All the things you hear about, get your hand inside. There was a drive in there where Javon Dexter did walk back from the 3 technique position, did walk the guard back in the backfield. It did stop the run on that play. Those are the things that you need to see more of from the Chicago Bears. Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards are back, like you're talking about. There's not some big run stuffer who's hurt and out like Billings was last year when we said, well, they don't have Andrew Billings. That's why they can't stop the run. Well, that still continues. That continues right now. And I don't know how long you can keep producing 4 takeaways a game and a field goal block to win football games when you're giving up that much yards rushing.
David, I'm sure you already know for our listeners that the qualities of courage, loyalty, teamwork, dedication, and humor are those recognized by the Piccolo Award. And Olin Kreutz has more than any Bear in history with 4 of them.
Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm aware of that.
We are blessed to have our guest this morning. Olin, when you went back and looked at that tape, how did the tackles play? What did you see? I thought maybe Braxton Jones was hurt, but apparently not. And what does that tell you? Are we seeing Theo Benedict becoming the starting left tackle of the Bears? What will happen over the next week, in your opinion?
Yes, we have the Piccolo Award and the Father Finnegan Award for the Loyola University here with Mully, and me and Mully are.
And David's in the Indiana Hall of Fame.
David's in Indiana Hall of Fame.
We've got a mutual admiration society. Dustin, what have you ever done?
Just give Dustin an award.
Spring in client of the year.
You got 4 Piccolos. Throw him one.
Dustin would be a Piccolo Award winner. I've worked with Dustin. He is that kind of teammate. Listen, the only thing I can think about when I watched the Tackles play this morning was it was a messy game, man. It really was. And they're looking for answers out there on the edges. And Theo Benedict came in and they put Ozzie Trapillo in the game and gave Ozzie a ton of help there with Crosby, which you have to, right? And I heard a caller talk about all the 12 personnel and even 3 tight ends they played. And that was the reason. You got to slow that guy down. The guy's an absolute game wrecker when you watch him on film. But, Theo did in the fourth quarter, his pass pro was a little better. He stood up, but that's just going to be a position we're going to watch, guys. And they were still getting beat out there. And that's what I'm saying about Caleb with his steady presence where when he's got to get out of pocket, he does. But also, man, guys, like sometimes the tackle getting beat clean. I see Kuntz just run by Theo Bennett, and he got it out to Rome Odunze, find his foot, stepped in the pocket, and delivered. Really steady presence there from Caleb yesterday. This tackle problem, guys, I think, for right now, we're going to deal with this for a while, right? I think these guys have to develop. They have to get on film. They have to get better. I don't know if you go back to Braxton after benching him yesterday. I don't know if you really can. So I think we're looking at it depends. Darnell Wright comes back, and then Theo Benedict is probably your starting left tackle, and we'll see what they do with the swing guy. And I don't know if Braxton goes from starting left tackle to inactive, right? Like I don't know if that happens because you only have one swing tackle, and would that be Ozzie Trapillo? And if that happens, if Theo Benedict gets hurt, does Darnell Wright move to left tackle and Ozzie Trapillo play right tackle? So a lot of questions there at the tackle position for the Chicago Bears, especially with Darnell Wright's injury and then taking Braxton Jones out of the game yesterday. Wasn't like they came in and you're like, man, these guys lit the world on fire. They were still struggling a little bit, but they did enough again to win the football game, to find ways to put enough points on the board to beat the Las Vegas Raiders.
Olin, I don't need to tell you how important leadership is at the quarterback position. So when you have a guy get into the huddle with 6:39 left, they're at the 31-yard line, you're down 24-19. I think anybody from, Kyle Orton to every quarterback in succession until Caleb Williams would have gotten in the huddle and said, you know what, guys, this is our moment. We're going to go score. But there's a level of belief that Caleb Williams is building that makes you think what he's saying is more than just rhetoric or more than what just he's supposed to say. What value do you place in the way that he led that drive and the belief that he maybe has instilled in his teammates that he will come through in the clutch when necessary?
Yeah, guys say that a lot, right? When they come in the huddle at the end of games, we're going to go down there and win, but not a lot of guys are talented enough, right? Not a lot of guys have the talent to move around in the pocket and the arm talent to beat, to throw balls in the NFL, fit them in windows, find the receivers, put the ball on a rope, layer the ball over, Jamal Williams there, lay it over him to Rome Odunze, find ways to make plays, to do the things that you got to do and have all that talent that he has to be the number one pick in the draft. So, yes, you believe in that. And then also the guy on the sideline, right? The head coach, who is the offensive guru, and they put these two guys together. And like you're saying, David, there's belief now. It looks like, okay, we can make these plays. We don't have to be, I've played with quarterbacks before where you have to be perfect. Everything had to be perfect. The protection had to be perfect. The route had to be perfect. The coverage had to be perfect. It makes it miserable out there, man. It really does. Even for an offensive player, if he calls a play and it's like, man, if we don't get the coverage, I don't know if we have anybody who can make a play. Now, they have a quarterback who has a special arm talent, who also can move around in the pocket, can use his legs to hurt the defense. But then also on the perimeter, they have guys who can beat guys, right? They have Rome Odunze, they have DJ Moore. Cole Kmet had some drops yesterday, but they have Cole Kmet. They got Zacchaeus. I heard you guys talk about him. On blitzes, it looks like Caleb's really looking for him. They even got Swift on those downs to put him in space and give him the ball. So you don't have to be perfect out there, right? You don't, like, if the left tackle gets beat, I seen the left tackle get beat clean, and Rome Odunze is wide open. He beat his guy that fast, and the ball came out that fast. So that's where the confidence comes from when you have guys like that, and then you have a coach who will run the ball twice into the end zone at the end of the game. And because that's a smart call, because the Raiders are not expecting it.
This segment with Olin Kreutz is sponsored by Plumbers 911, Plumbing Emergency. Call the plumbing professionals, available 24/7 at 1-833-PLUM-911. And Olin, I thought it was very interesting. You mentioned that you have seen on tape the various offenses where the coaching staff come from. We know Ben Johnson, they talked about it on the broadcast yesterday, how he declined the idea of just bringing people that he has worked with before in and trying to get a sample of various other offenses from around the league, Kansas City, New Orleans, Denver, etc. And you see some of that on the offense he's running.
Yeah, you really do. And you see them trying to find, when you say, okay, what's wrong with the run game? You see them trying to put all these concepts together and develop their run game, right? With Bieniemy's run game, where he was with Andy Reid so long. You see some of that in there, where he was with Washington last year. You see some of that in there, right? Declan Doyle, Sean Payton guy. Roshar, kind of a Sean Payton guy. So Ben Johnson, right, with Dan Campbell and Hank Fraley and his run game. And you see that, you know, when I watch the film, guys, like the details in the run game are just a little off, and they got all these concepts and they're trying to work them together. And the hope is, and I think it will happen, the hope is that eventually they find out what they are there at Halas on. I think some of these struggles we see on offense for a long time through periods of games are that, right? Like I always watch it from the center position. I always watch it. I see the game from there. Obviously, there's reasons why I played it for 14 years. You know, there's nobody going to a certain linebacker, and that confuses me. Like, who has that linebacker? You know, I think the first play of the game, the Mike linebacker ran free and made a tackle, and they're running outside zone to the left. Somebody's got to have the linebacker, right? I don't know who it is. I don't know what their game plan was, but I know someone is accountable for him, and they're just letting him go free. So a lot of their run game looks like that to me. Even their pass game sometimes, in their pass protection, where do I fit in? How do I handle this three-man game on a pass rush that came free yesterday for the Chicago Bears on that sack that Caleb did have, you know, that knocked them back there. But a lot of that stuff they're trying to figure out, trying to get their rules for their offense down, and it's just going to take. I know people don't want to hear it, but you don't mind hearing it after you win football games, right? And this is going to take a little bit of time.
Great stuff, Olin. And it's right. You're right. It's better to talk about these things after the Bears win than lose.